Hello there and welcome to Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Judicial and this is our political conversation, a conversation which is usually very simple, truthful and biased. Prof puts it in a hard-hitting manner. Welcome, Prof. How are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good.
This is a recorded show. We are not live today.
I'm sure. I wish we were live, man.
You have that American accent.
Yes.
But there's so much to talk about, from Wafula Chebukati saying the 4 commissioners that are not part of their commission that have come out saying there's a discrepancy in the numbers and they call it a mathematical absurdity that the percentages are leading to 100.01%. Wafula Chebukati, the IEBC chairperson, coming out and saying they wanted a rerun, saying these commissioners are out of the oath of office that they took and he could not do that. Therefore, he went ahead and declared the elections. Of course, the details are not really there, but I want to know, from what we have read from his statement, what do you make of it that they only wanted a rerun?
How could they have needed a rerun? This is a simple thing. Either there was no person who hit 50% or there was. So if, according to them, you know, the way I've had it is making it appear like they were forcing something illegal. If in their own calculations, nobody hit the 50% plus 1, that's just the dictates of the Constitution. Okay. So you don't say they are forcing something unconstitutional or forcing a rerun. You say their calculation is wrong.
Okay.
It's as simple as that.
Because according to him, the 100.01% is not there. Yes. And that is why he went ahead and declared. He said the information is in the public portal within the IEBC's website. But tell me, are you reading anything mischievous from them? Of course, they said 0.01 is equal to 142,000. We talked about it in our live show. But are you reading anything mischievous? Some say Cherera, the vice chair, is in Azimio's side. She worked with Joho and therefore she might be influenced. Talk to me about that.
I wouldn't know. That I can't tell.
Okay.
I've also heard many things about Chebukati, but I don't know. They have said he's related to Wetangula or they are friends. They have said many things. If you go that way, where shall we end?
Oh.
Yeah. I think they have made allegations. And these things will find themselves in the courts. So why don't we just see how the court processes it?
Some say, I just mentioned to you before we start, Julius Malema asking Raila to concede. Raila Odinga has gone to the Supreme Court. Yes. Here he has a battalion of lawyers going there to fight for him. Should he have taken that step, knowing very well it hasn't worked for him? The past 4 elections,
many things have not worked for Raila. But let me tell you this. It's easier to tell somebody to forget and go on if you do not know what people are fighting for. You know, if it's a job you are looking for, it's very easy to tell somebody, you forget and go home. But this is a struggle that has taken years. This struggle has claimed lives and property. People have been denied promotions and people have been killed. People have lost jobs, been sacked. This is a long struggle. It's not the struggle for a job for one man like Raila Odinga. I think it's a struggle. If you look at it that way, then you can understand that the struggle perhaps would continue. Yeah. But if you look at it as Raila looking for a job, then surely why can't he just consider and go home?
Do you perhaps
I also feel there's no point in the struggle, in these Supreme Court things. If you ask me, so what?
I want to know, do you perhaps...
But you know, if you look at it from the other perspective, that this is a struggle to take Kenya where it ought to be, then you would understand why one more step towards achieving that is never a bad thing.
For his supporters, would you somehow agree with them that maybe he should have learned from the past 4 elections? And why is it this time around? It seems like he hasn't learned. Every time he says about election rigging, where did things go wrong?
I've heard people say, and I think someone said, come on, Actually,
it's Uhuru. He said that.
You know, that's not a conversation you can have with Raila about stealing an election. Even if you call Raila somewhere quietly in Serena Hotel, wait, I'll give him a cup of tea, then you tell Raila, hii kitu umetafuta. You know, he'll pour that tea on you. That's not a conversation you can have with Raila. That we steal this election for you. He can even slap you. Because then, the struggle, what was it for? He struggles for a better Kenya. For democracy. Why would he talk to you about stealing an election? That's not a conversation you can have with him.
Then I want to know then, if you say that, does that signal that For you to become president in this country, you have to rig the elections.
I'm saying that's what people have said. And I'm telling you, it's not a conversation you can have with Raila Odinga about stealing an election, not even one vote for him.
What do you think will be the outcome of the Supreme Court? Yes, we have the Form 34s. We know how Chebukati has talked about this election, calling it the most transparent it has ever been. Can he sail through the Supreme Court?
There are many parties to this thing. And each party will say what they want to say. Chebukati will say it was a good. Other commissioner will say it was not good. Raila Odinga will say it was stolen. But then they will have submit what they have to the Supreme Court.
Yeah.
The Supreme Court will examine what they have. And that's why I'm asking the Supreme Court to look at these things in a judicious way, with wisdom, without fear or favor, as a way of helping the people of Kenya build their democracy. Not to say, we nullified an election last time, oh, let us nullify, or to say now, because Raila has been wronged for so many years, let's just nullify it. Let's just nullify even if it doesn't have evidence. No. They must look at this thing with the seriousness it deserves. But to answer your question, each side has their story. The men and women, the 7 men and women in the Supreme Court, will look at what they have to say. Both sides, from all sides. No, it's not even 2 sides.
Of course, as we're continuing this conversation, there's also that conversation of the counties where gubernatorial elections were suspended. According to Chebukati, he says there is fear from his staff based on what we saw in Bomas. Harassment, some of them don't even want to do this job anymore. Is this a rightful reason for him to suspend elections in those areas?
That is flimsy.
As simple as that?
That's actually just foolish if it is true.
Because that is what he has said.
Did he say that?
That is his,
that you can't get a returning officer to run an election.
Yeah.
Why were they? Anybody who applies to be a returning officer knows this is not a simple job. People can even format you and beat you. Then why did you take the job? But that's not true. Why can't he send me? I mean, Kakamega is not a war zone. Why doesn't he talk to Kibicho to give him security? Kakamega is not a war zone. Mombasa is not a war zone. Come on. I will listen to security issues in Mandera. Kwa kina Kamteti, what do you call him? Those sides of, those Baringo sides. Baragoi or such. Tiati. Kakamega is not a war zone.
Mombasa.
In fact, the returning officer does not even need a policeman or Mombasa. Nothing. You just go and conduct without one policeman. Kakamega is not a war zone. And the Luyas are very friendly people. Watu wa Mombasa wanakunya tu kawatungu wanatisha nani? Kawatungu tu na watu wazuri wanakunya kawatungu bana.
What are we looking at though when this
there must be another reason.
If these elections are suspended, some said whoever will become the president-elect is the person who's going to win this gubernatorial seats. Does this also hold water for you when you hear this conversation that
it gives somebody a head start? If Ruto, even just Ruto being president-elect, that is enough to give Malala a head start and Hassan Omar.
How so?
Yeah, you know, people, human beings are attracted by power and success. Success is associated with someone who has been elected as president. He's attractive. He already has power. If you look at Ruto, it's not the same Ruto. Like a squad and what, Gachagua, you know, power.
Is this why we're having those
raw power
independent MPs now going towards
and you see people
Kenya
already
Kwanza
swinging it to him because it's natural. Because we have few men of conviction, few women of conviction in the country, few people who go to parliament because they want to work for their country. They go there to make some little money and work with CDF and Moabit. They are not even worth. There are people who are not even worth being on a cattle dip committee. But we take them to parliament.
Could this also be reflected now in the Supreme Court's ruling that now at least we have a president-elect? Let it just go as it is.
No, that would be the worst mistake from the Supreme Court. We must bring this thing to closure. And I've argued repeatedly. We cannot deny the people, rob the people of the chance to elect a president. Because when you take this thing to the Supreme Court, you are removing it from the people. We must have we must decisively deal with the issue of election fraud. Decisively and punish the people Nullify an election if you must nullify, but punish the people. So that we don't have people going to Supreme Court next time.
You know, now that Raila has gone to the Supreme Court,
Yes.
People are just thinking about the best case scenario, the worst case scenario, not for him, not for Ruto, but for the country. Could things go badly for the country based on now him going to the Supreme Court?
Let me tell you this. We must make sure we do not lose it. We can easily lose it.
We're at that point. Based on what?
You see, in 2017, we did what we did, and we are ashamed of it. It's a bad past. Then we said, we have a new constitution. We gave ourselves the Supreme Court to resolve disputes. And in 2013, Raila went there. People are not very happy with what happened, but they accepted. In 2017, the Supreme Court nullified the election, but did nothing to change the situation. Same people, indicted, but allowed to run the repeat election. You can only be a fool to do the same. You see,
I'm getting
the same set of conditions. And when people try to mitigate this by going to challenge the repeat election in some one way or the other, even the Supreme Court did not meet. Judges could not reach the court. I hear someone was stopped on the way and things like that.
Yes.
That case couldn't go on. But the Supreme Court continued as if nothing had happened. And when the repeat election was held anyway, there was a petition brought against it by people, not Raila, because Raila didn't participate. The Supreme Court was in a hurry to dismiss it. I'm not saying they did a wrong job, but it looked like they were in a hurry to dismiss it. That's my layman's reading.
Yes.
So then one looks like the Supreme Court doesn't seem then to be doing that we thought it could do for us. You get it?
Yes.
And therefore, the Supreme Court, this time round, must look at this thing thoroughly. If Raila does not have a case, they must bring it out so well that people will not just take any case to court. They must bring it. So look here. Yes, we have seen this. We have seen this. We looked at this. But surely, there's nothing you are telling the court. We cannot nullify an election on the basis of rumors. These are rumors, this and this. So people do not go to the court next time. On the other hand, if Raila has evidence, if there's any gerrymandering, the court must nullify the election without looking over its back who is going to injure, and then punish the culprits.
You know, we're speaking about worst and
me,
best scenario.
So the worst case scenario, they have now to go back. If you nullify the election, it is like you are saying, okay, this is draw. Go again. You know draw, eh?
Yeah.
Made a draw. So penalties. I don't know what I'm saying.
I'm getting you.
15 minutes, 15 minutes, penalties. That's a better way. Because, assuming as everybody believes Raila will be beaten thoroughly, that brings everything to closure. That to me is the best case scenario. The worst case scenario is the Supreme Court doesn't nullify the election, especially where there is sufficient evidence, like in 2013.
So it goes back to the lawyers.
If the Supreme Court doesn't nullify the election, and there is overwhelming evidence, as in 2013, that can plunge the country into chaos.
Okay.
And therefore, but what I'm saying is judicious is what we are looking. The Supreme Court to be led by wisdom and adherence to the Constitution and work in the best interest of the country, which will mean if there is merit, dismiss the case. Nullify the election.
Yeah.
If there's no merit, make it clear to the petitioners. You see, but that is at the level of within what happens within the judgment. But when you talk about worst case and is independent of what goes on and the merit and demerits. It's just an outcome. You're asking me about an outcome.
Yes.
One outcome is you nullify. The elections has been nullified. The other outcome, it has not been nullified. So which is best case? Is that what you meant?
Yes.
And I said, without going into the merits of what had happened in court, whether there was a good case or not, but that the election has been nullified. Looking purely at just the nullified election, to me, it offers the best case scenario, because then you put things to rest. Because then now, if somebody is going to lose, and because then the Supreme Court does not just nullify an election, because I've said 2017 they just nullified. You nullify, but put certain measures into place for the ensuing election. Yeah.
If there's a rerun, will he become the president based on his campaign, what we have seen with his campaign?
I wouldn't know, because reruns have their own dynamics. Dynamics. Any rerun anywhere in the world, they have very strange dynamics. You know, you can go there and your people have given up. Say, what are you? Then you get 2 million votes or 1.5 million votes. It's possible. But they could also turn out in anger and push these things through until you win. So there are dynamics in a rerun. Ruto has friends he went with in this election. Do you know already government is being formed? Yeah. Okay? He's just waiting to be sworn in the government. They know, people have an idea of what they are going to get in that government. What ameuliza Mudavadi ameuliza mimi, what is my ministry? Maybe he has learned he will be given the Ministry for Social Services. Maybe he was expecting Interior.
I've seen ANC has nominated him to become the Prime Minister.
Maybe the Prime Minister will just be a shell. That by now that he knows what kind of docket he will hold. It's clear. Maybe Matiang'i will remain there. And maybe somebody else will be in charge of finance. So what do you leave with Mudavadi? So now those are the things that determine when you go into a rerun. Will Ruto have kept his friends? Will there be people already sulking? Would he be annoyed with somebody because he didn't turn out the votes he was supposed to have turned? Are there loose-mouthed people like Sudi talking bad about Kikuyus? You people, you almost cost this election because they have just scratched it through.
Yeah.
And people can talk. How Kikuyu walikuwa wanadanganya, angalia hiyo turnout. Tumeponea tu chembe. So that can anger the Kikuyu. I have told you, Raila, people can say we are tired of this thing. Kwenda huko. Kama hujui kuiba, we should not. So this, and a rerun is very tricky.
Very tricky.
It's very tricky.
I think we'll need to have that conversation after we see what happens within the Supreme Court if the appeal goes through. But we do have this conversation. Thank you so much for tuning in. My name is Gerald Kibera here with Herman Manyora. This has been a political conversation that we hope will make us live as a country after this year's elections. Thank you so much. Have yourself a lovely rest of your day.